during this presidency, we had some broad priorities with which we started. And these priorities were very critical for the global world. First of which, that at a point of time when the 1/3 of the world is facing a recession, we should drive bold, sustainable, strong, and inclusive growth. The second key priority for us was to have accelerated sustainable development goals, because only 12 of the 169 SDGs are on track, and we are way behind the schedule. We are midway at the 2030 action point, but we are way behind, and therefore accelerating SDGs, improving learning outcomes, health outcomes, nutrition, all these were very critical for India's presidency. Thirdly, we wanted the world to take the lead on green development in the context of climate action and climate finance. And there were several components of this which we wanted to drive, and therefore green development, climate action, climate finance was our third priority. And because both SDGs and climate action require finance, particularly for developing and emerging markets in the global south, it was critical that we focus on multilateral institutions of the 21st century, how to redesign and reform them. And our view was that global south, developing countries, emerging markets, which has been a very, very key component of India's presidency, must be able to get long-term financing and must be able to use new instruments for financing to drive both SDG and climate finance. So the fifth priority of India's presidency was that we must have technological development and digital public infrastructure. Because if we have to lift vast segments of the population, if we have to make a difference to the global south, technology will be the key driver. And most of the innovations in the world have come from the big tech in the West, and even in China they've come from big tech. But India has created a very unique model of digital public infrastructure, which is open source, open API, is interoperable, and has enabled digital identity for every citizen, has enabled bank account for every citizen, has enabled everyone to do fast payments, has enabled everyone to improve learning outcomes and health outcomes. And during the COVID, we were able to do 2.2 billion COVID vaccinations. And therefore, technological development and how to use digital public infrastructure to drive growth, when 4 billion people of the world do not have digital identity, about 3 billion people do not have bank accounts, and over 133 countries do not have fast payments. That was critical from India's priorities perspective. And the last key priority, which the Prime Minister elucidated and which he felt very strongly about, was women-led development, to bring women-led development, to bring women empowerment and gender equality.